Okay. All right. Let's move on to the Denver Broncos. Boy, they are one of the hotter teams in the league. 5th win in 6 games after taking down the Panthers Sunday. If you're watching at home on TV, look at Sean Payton had some drama with Panthers cornerback J.C. Horn. Horn was yelling at Payton about running up the score. Payton addressed it after the game. Here we go. Oh, boy.
After the game, a number of Panthers players that were frustrated felt like you were running the score up.
I know.
How do you respond to that?
Listen, I said it last night. We're trying to finish the game the right way. We're not trying to run up the score on anyone. It's the National Football League. I've been in games with a 28-point lead in the fourth quarter and lost. So we're trying to finish. The Burton throw from Sutton is trying to continue a drive. Play better.
Exactly. Don't. That's such a weak out by Carolina players. Just get over it. Play better. I mean, when they ran the trick play, everybody was like, "Oh," but ask yourself: Bo Nix is a rookie quarterback. Franklin's a rookie receiver. It's still a pretty young football team on the offensive side. He's trying to give his team real in-game looks.
Yeah.
I mean, by the way, Detroit is stumping people. They have multiple players each week throwing passes, and Detroit's ahead by 3 touchdowns. I don't have a problem with it at all.
Putting some stuff on tape that other teams now have to watch for. I got no problem with this. Interesting note here. Sean Payton coached J.C. Horn's dad, Joe Horn. Remember the guy who had hid the cell phone in the end zone? So it's a very odd take. It just feels like a Panthers guy who's depressed on the worst team in the league again.
Peyton's Broncos, didn't they lose 72-20 to the Dolphins last year? And Sean Payton did not complain. Yeah. It's life in football, college or pro.
Yeah. Final.
Yeah, what a non-story. I mean, running up the score, this, that, right? And play better. Listen, Sean Payton is trying to develop this team, okay? The Broncos are one of the hottest teams right now in the NFL, and they are playing great, and they want to keep that momentum going. They want to fine-tune all of the little things. They want these players, Sean wants these players to continue to get comfortable and stay competitive, right? Not lazy and sleepy, right? So I just reject that notion 100%. And it's just like, that's just someone being bitter. That's someone being a sore loser, quite frankly. I mean, if this was, right, like the cream of the crop, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, whatever, then I could understand maybe a little bit, somewhat, but there's so many moving parts, so many pieces that need to be integrated into this offense, into this team as a whole, quite frankly, for the Broncos, that, miss me with that nonsense. I mean, seriously, miss me with that nonsense. But I really also wanted to take time to really kind of praise what the Broncos have been doing and Bo Nix, because a lot of people were kind of complaining and saying, well, this is just the Panthers. This is just the Panthers. And I've defended this for all quarterbacks, all rookie quarterbacks, when they go up against bad defenses, right? I say that every single time because there's so much pushback against it, right? It's always like, yeah, well, this was a bad defense. Let's see what they do against a better defense. And like I've said now so many times, and I think we're probably almost done with this stage of these rookie quarterbacks, story of their rookie years, that it's totally fair to give the credit to the rookie quarterback when they're playing a bad team, bad defense specifically. But if you don't want to give all that credit to the team as a whole, whether it's the Bears, the Broncos, the Commanders, that makes more sense to me, right? Because a team needs to be complete. If you're going up against a team that has no quarterback and all of that, it's like, is that a big win for the Broncos or the Bears or the Commanders? Like, not necessarily to me. But in terms of strictly evaluating quarterback play for, say, a rookie, it's totally fair game, because to act like any quarterback can just ball out even against bad teams, it's just not true. It's just not true. So it is very beneficial to look at, unless it's just blown coverage after blown coverage and missed tackle after missed tackle and missed tackle, and you're getting a million turnovers and you're getting short, right? Like, then sometimes, but that's not the story here. So I wanted to go through this quickly to emphasize this point, right? Because week 2, okay, Justin Herbert, he's been in the league for quite some time, okay? He played he played the Panthers, week 2. How did he do? This is now a PFF ranking. 54, 48, and 70.6. Okay, so that's offense, passing, and then running. Okay, so, that was against the Panthers. So that's interesting. Week 4, Joe Burrow. Big time Joe Burrow. Let's see what Joe's got. Definitely way better, right? He's 81, 77, and 65. Okay, also, pretty good. Then we got Caleb, right? Rookie of the year, big money, #1 overall pick. Let's go forever. What do we got with good old Caleb? Definitely not too bad, especially for a rookie quarterback. 72, 66, and 74. Again, also pretty good. And then we got Kirk Cousins, seasoned veteran, right? Established veteran, been playing this league for God knows how long. And 84, 83, didn't run, I guess, at all. And there you go, right? Pretty good, right? 5th ranked quarterback of that week. What did little old Bo Nix do? Oh, that's right. 87 offense, 85 passing, 65.9 running, and was the 5th best quarterback of that week. The rankings don't matter as much to me because it's right. It's like all depends on who you're playing that week, right? So it's like if you play a really bad team, of course, the quarterback could play good relative to, say, a really great quarterback who played a really tough defense. So the overall rankings don't matter to me, but I am looking at the grades themselves, which, again, it's not perfect to compare to say, well, what did the Chiefs do against the Panthers versus what did the Broncos do against the Panthers, right? Like, it's not a perfect comparison, and I'm not trying to pretend like it is, but I do think it's useful data, and it disarms this idea that anyone just balls out against these bad teams when we have established quarterbacks not necessarily balling out or playing well and seemingly putting up points and putting up numbers, but when we look at more of the advanced analytics, Bo Nix played great. I mean, so again, if we're going to be stat junkies, which you guys know I am not, I try to disarm the stats and pull them down, quite frankly. But this is an example that I think stats can be a little bit more relevant because the comparisons are a lot more equal. When people want to say, oh, this so-and-so outplayed them in week 7, it's like, well, one team played the Panthers and one team played the Chiefs, right? Those are 2 very different games. So like that's when I talk about disarming stats. But this is a little bit more similar. Now, again, games are going to have completely different game plans. They're going to unfold differently. You're going to have some key things like a drop pass, a tip pass that goes for an interception, whatever it may be. So again, it's definitely imperfect. There's different levels of health. Maybe the Panthers were 1,000% full strength, no ifs, ands, or buts, and they were at their peak powers in week 2. And then by the time you got to week 6, 7, 8, whatever, they were decimated by injury. So again, it's most definitely not perfect, but it's more data that paints a clearer picture than some of these more just whatever stats where we're just like, look how so-and-so did these last 3 weeks versus look who this guy played versus last 3 weeks. Like, so I think it's worth looking at and seeing what Bo Nix was able to do against the Panthers. He had one of the best games from a quarterback perspective against the Panthers. So that deserves praise. That deserves credit. Everybody was praising, and rightfully so, Jaden Daniels a couple big games, whether it was against the Bengals or the Browns or whoever. And same thing with Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams balls out against the Jags, and it's like they're throwing confetti and having a party and saying, Caleb Williams has arrived and all of that. And I guess my question is Bo Nix plays great against the Panthers. And make no mistake about it, for those games too, people were pushing back, right? I don't want to act like everybody was just praising those quarterbacks and now they're just kind of pulling down Bo Nix. There was some pushback for Jaden and Caleb and whatnot. But in terms of the media impact and presence, it was definitely like, let's talk about this. This was exciting. This was big. Whereas it wasn't even like a segment for the Broncos. Right? Like they never even had their segment. Like so many shows never even covered it. And if they did, it was just like in passing. It was just like, hey, we're just ripping through highlights right now. What happened with the Steelers and the Jets game? What happened with the, Broncos and the Panthers game? Whatever. It was just like ripping through it. I know the Steelers didn't play the Jets. So yeah, just kind of interesting to me. So I wanted to highlight it. I wanted to highlight Bo Nix. It was a great game and getting him the credit that I believe he deserves, because I think this game was just a really great, complete game 28 for 37, 75.7% completion percentage, 285 yards, 7.7 yards per attempt, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, big time throws, 2, 0 turnover worthy plays. That's a huge stat for me, honestly, one that I really care about a lot, because a lot of times you get lucky when you don't throw an interception. So turnover worthy plays is pretty much how many times are you actually putting this ball at risk, where it easily, most definitely could have been intercepted. So I just think overall just a great game, and he deserves the credit. He deserves some of this praise. So just wanted to highlight that for you all. But those are just my thoughts on this game. Would absolutely love to hear yours. How did you think Bo Nix and Denver Broncos are developing? What do you think about running up the score? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.